guys, welcome to my channel, Case by Case. This is Casey. Thank you so much for coming back. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you. I really appreciate it. And then also, if you are new, thank you so much for stopping by. Please don't leave. I really appreciate it. And so this episode picks up where we left off on episode 2. It is Sunday dinner, and everybody is pretty much against Jazz getting the surgery. And so the consensus is that they think that the surgery pretty much is too risky, and they just want Jazz to lose weight naturally and to do it the natural way. And this moment, you can tell, is very overwhelming for Jazz, and she actually breaks down and she starts to cry. And then you can see her mom start to feel for her, and she goes over to give her a hug, and she you could tell she feels sympathy for Jazz in this moment. And then she tells Jazz, don't cry, pretty much, and that you can do whatever you need to do for you, and she'll stand beside her, pretty much. And Jazz was like, in the confessional, pretty much, that's cool, but she really needs the approval of her granny. Like, nothing will be done unless granny approves of the surgery. And you can sense and feel that everybody knows that Jazz is pretty much waiting for the grandmother's approval. And so it's almost like an awkward silence. And then you can see the wheels spinning in her grandmother's head. You can see she starts to get emotional as well. And so she starts to talk, and I found it so weird. She was referring to herself in third person, and then she's recounting pretty much the past when she told Jazz no. And she says, I'm gonna look at my notes for this. She says that Granny's line of thinking was, if she okayed the surgery and something happened to Jazz, she wouldn't be able to cope with that. And that's understandable. That's a really big decision for one person to make. It's a lot of pressure. And then, God forbid, something did actually happen to Jazz back in the past. I can understand that's a lot of guilt. And so I kind of get that in the past. But then also at the same time, this is now, this isn't the past. Doctors, like I said in my episode 2 review, doctors can do this surgery in their sleep. And so it's not, it's time to move forward and give her approval that she feels like she needs. And thankfully, that is the conclusion that her grandma did come to, essentially, that doctors can do this surgery easily nowadays. It's not like it was in the past. And she actually gives Jazz her approval. And one thing that her grandma said that I can appreciate, she said, "You're no longer living for me or your mom. This is your time. You're living for you and your daughter. And so you have to do what's right for you and your daughter." And so I could really appreciate that. But back to this third person. And so I brought that up because not only because it was weird to me, but I brought that up because I looked it up. But it's not common nowadays. And so I looked it up, and I found that it could be a few things. 2 of those things, it could be a form of emotional regulation, and then the other thing is narcissism. And so if it's narcissism, that would validate my Big Mama theory from episode 2. My review, if you haven't seen it, please go back and watch it. I related Jasmine's grandma to Big Mama from Soul Food. And so that would validate that theory that I had in my episode 2 review. But then also emotional regulation. I took some notes. I'm just going to look at my notes. If this is emotional regulation, it just means that it allows for the person to emotionally detach in order to make a more rational decision. It allows for them to set their emotions aside. And so this could be the case that it's just emotional regulation, but you never know. 2 things can be true at once. And so we'll see. But I am glad that Jazz got her approval. She felt like she really needed that approval. And so hopefully it will help her move on in her weight loss journey. And it will also help her to move on with her life. Next scene, Jazz and Nisha are back at home. And Jazz said that even though she's losing weight, her mobility and her knee pain is getting a lot worse, which is odd because usually when you lose weight, your mobility increases and it should be easier to walk and you have less knee pain. So that is very odd. Nisha said that since Jazz has been taking the weight loss shots, she hasn't really been eating much, and so she's trying to get her to eat, and so she's making like these healthy smoothies in the kitchen. I saw like kiwi, I saw banana, I saw sea moss. I don't know if sea moss tastes good in smoothies. I never had sea moss before, but I know that it's like got like a very fishy kind of taste. That's what people say. And it has like a slimy kind of texture to it. That's what I've heard. I don't know for sure. But I wouldn't want that in a smoothie. And then when she blended it up, it looked real green and real frothy. So Nisha was prepping all the ingredients and getting the smoothies ready. She brought up Joel, her situationship. She said that Joel can come over and help put up Nana's bed, and that was in Jazz said that her and Nana have been sharing a bed and Nana needs her own space, and so they've been looking for a bed for Nana. But Nisha, she doesn't call Joel Joel, she calls him her handyman. And Jazz was like, why don't you just call him by his name? Why don't you call him your man? Anisha starts to break down their relationship a little bit more for us. She said in the beginning it was fun, and she felt like she was having her way in this relationship because she's the biggest girl that Joel has ever dated before. But now she feels like the relationship isn't going her way anymore. And she says that it's him. It's not her, it's him. In the confessional, Nisha says that she doesn't want to be in a relationship right now. Jazz calls bull crap, and I happen to agree. Nisha says that she's loyal, and Jazz said that she's just comfortable, and then Nisha agrees. And then Jazz says that Nisha hides her true feelings about Joel, and that if she'd be honest with herself and Joel about how she truly feels, she'd probably end up hurt. And then Nisha, she was like, no, baby, no, trying to play it off. But I happen to agree with Jazz. I think that's the situation right here. She just doesn't want to get hurt, and so she's trying to protect herself and her feelings. Okay, and then so before the smoothies, Jazz weighs herself. And she's currently 570 pounds. So she's lost 60 pounds at this point. And so she has 6 more weeks left, and she needs to lose a total of 70 pounds. And then so after Jazz weighs herself, they finally try these smoothies that Nisha made. I knew them smoothies was gonna be nasty. In the next scene, they meet Nisha's mom at the playground. And then Nisha says, even though she spends a lot of time with her mom, she still resents her mom for raising her in the cult. Which is very odd, but then I guess not odd because they work together. Nisha, it seems like she needs her mom for work. But other than that, I don't know. It's kind of odd. I would think that she wouldn't want to talk to her mom ever again. But she still is like in communication with her mom, but resenting her mom at the same time. That just doesn't make sense to me. She says that she uses Jazz like as a buffer whenever like she hangs out with her mom. When they're at the park, Jazz struggles to get out of the car and requires Nisha's help, and Nisha's mom's name is Deidre. And so she requires their help getting out of the car. And Nisha's mom, Deidre, she says she has noticed a decline in Jazz's mobility and her energy level. She said, I felt like when I saw her a couple months ago, she was more energetic, she was more mobile, she seemed happier. But the whole reason they went to the park, of course, was for Nana. And Nana is having a great time at the park. But seeing Nana have a great time at the park makes Jazz emotional. And then she asks for a moment alone. What made Jazz so emotional was she feels guilt pretty much. She felt like she should be able to run with her child and play at the park, but instead she's like stuck in a wheelchair because of her weight. And that just caused her to feel like really guilty. She said that she's been selfishly allowing food and depression to prevent her from being a good mom, and that's how she felt. But in that moment, Deidre asked Jazz pretty much like what's going on, checking on her emotionally. And she said, because I remember you being like happier and mobile, like what's going on? And then Jazz responds to Deidre by saying, I am deteriorating. And then Nisha, she says that she believes that it's the weight loss shots that's causing Jazz's decline. Nisha then goes in to say that Jazz has been a lot weaker and she's even been falling. She says she's losing the weight, but at what cost? And I don't know what's causing Jazz's decline, because like she said before, she should be feeling more energized and things after losing some weight, and she should be more mobile. If it is the shots, then I think she should stop taking the shots. The next thing, they go to a furniture store, and the furniture store is huge, and they're there to find Nana a bed. Jazz is not mobile, and so she actually sits on a couch in the front of the furniture store, and then Nisha walks with the salesperson, and then she just FaceTimes Jazz, and then they look at the options that way. But unfortunately, the furniture store was a bust, and so they ended up just finding something online anyways. But the salesperson, he was really nice. You could tell he was trying to make a sale. He was nice. Okay, next scene, Nisha says she loves Jazz, but she's getting tired of taking care of Jazz. I understand where she's coming from. It's a lot of work being a caretaker. But at the same time, they're friends. And I don't know if she should be talking about her friend like that. Okay, so she met up with her friend Bree, who is also friends with Jazz. So she's a mutual friend, and they meet up at a Mexican restaurant. And at the restaurant, Nisha is pretty much venting about Jazz to Bree. And then Nisha pretty much blames the shots for the distance in between them. Bree says although she's friends with both Jazz and Nisha, she doesn't mind supporting Nisha in this moment and being her new fat friend. And I believe Bree is Nisha's enabler the way that Nisha is Jazz's enabler. One thing that Bree did ask that stood out to me while they were at the restaurant, she asked if Nisha is jealous of Jazz because Jazz is actually doing it. And when she said doing it, she meant like the weight loss journey, like she's taking it seriously. And Nisha said pretty much that she's battling between being healthy and still being a big girl. And then so the next scene, we see Nisha like about to make a sandwich, and she's trying to get Jazz to eat as well. Jazz is about to have a virtual doctor's appointment in a few, and Nisha just wants her to eat something because she hasn't been eating. And then Jazz says no, because she doesn't want to gain any weight, and she's worried about gaining weight. And honestly, normally, like, this is considered unhealthy. Like, not eating at all, like the way Jess has been going about her diet, this isn't considered healthy. But I don't know, honestly, because it's like a special predicament. And it honestly like reminds me of that viral Dr. Now video. I'll try to insert it here.
Dietitian come talk to you?
Yes, sir. Can you talk to her about the food that they've been sitting in here?
Well, I don't know why you don't like the food that everybody else eats in the world. Show me what they brought you.
This, I didn't touch it.
Well, that's good lunch.
I don't eat that. I don't eat beans at all. I don't even know what that is. And this look like dog food.
You don't like meat?
I don't eat stuff like this.
But that's good nutrition, that's good protein, right?
Like I don't eat beans at all.
But how about the meat?
I don't eat that kind of meat. I haven't really ate nothing since I've been here.
You're not gonna fade away. You're gonna be fine.
I still have to eat something.
No. You're eating the food that belongs to the next 4 years ahead of time. So if you don't eat, you're gonna be all right. At your weight, body got the reserve that you don't eat anything for a week or two, you're not gonna have anything gonna happen.
But like in a hospital, when taking medication and having to take different medicine, you have to have food in your system to take the medicine, not to be nauseated. But the dog food that they give me here is not, I don't eat stuff like that.
And that's not dog food, that's very good food.
Well, I don't.
When he was talking about like that lady who said she's wasting away and she was like 600 pounds, and he was like, you ate enough for like 4 years ahead of time or something like that. And so it reminds me of that, like, so I don't know. But it could be the shots, and that's another thing. I don't know like how the shots affect the body and how that plays into her diet, and so I wasn't sure. Okay, and then Jazz's virtual doctor's appointment starts, and she lets her doctor know that her mobility has declined and that her legs have been hurting her, and she's been having really extreme knee pain. And the doctor lets her know that if the pain is too bad, she could pretty much take some pain pills. Meanwhile, during her doctor's appointment, Nisha is like in the back making a sandwich, and she's like talking through the steps of making a sandwich. I put on some mustard, lettuce, meat. And Nisha was like making me mad. Like she was really making me mad doing that, because to me that is so rude to like talk through somebody's doctor's appointment, to like even be like talking with somebody is on the phone like in the background. That is so rude to me. It's so disrespectful. Like that's just the way that I was brought up. You just don't interrupt somebody when they're on the phone. And so I did not like that. She was getting on my nerves doing that. Like when I was little and my mama put on, I knew what time it was. She put on that professional voice. Yes, this is she. I found some business. Yeah. I made the mistake once of like talking when my mama was on the phone during a professional call, and I got popped in the mouth. And so, yeah, that's just the way I was raised. I don't do that. And I hate when people do that to me. And so I just thought that was so rude. But anyways, she was letting her doctor know what was going on with her. And then her doctor asked about like her protein intake and her food intake. And Jazz was honest. She said that she's probably been eating like once a day, if that. Like she really hasn't been hungry with the shots, and that she hasn't been on it with her protein intake. And then her doctor lets her know that she really needs to like take the protein shakes and the supplements that she's been prescribed in order to keep up her energy. And she really needs the protein just for like energy to move about. And so that's like really the cause of her decline. And so she recommends that she stops taking the shots temporarily in order to replenish her missing nutrients and things. Jazz is like conflicted. She doesn't want to stop taking the shots because she feels like that she won't be able to lose weight without the shots. This is very serious though, because her doctor says if she doesn't stop taking the shots and her body continues to decline, she can lose her ability to walk in the future. And so this is very serious. Okay, and the next scene, Johnny come lately, he comes strolling in. Joel, apparently he's a day late and $1 short. He was supposed to come and help put Nana's bed up, and he is late, and they like going in on him for that. While Joel is putting up the bed, Jazz and Nisha are in the kitchen talking, and they're talking about Joel. Jazz is pretty much saying to Nisha, when Joel comes, he helps out a little bit, but he comes like when he wants to, pretty much. Like, he doesn't respect her time, and he doesn't respect her, and he gets food, and he gets Nisha's cookies, and he dips. And Jazz is pretty much saying that Nisha should respect herself and that she deserves better, and that she doesn't want to see this for her friend for another 20 years, because it's already been 20 years, so she just wants better for her friend. While they're in the kitchen, Joel comes out. He's all sweaty, and he asks for something to drink. And then Nisha asks Jazz to ask Joel what Jazz asked her. And then Jazz asks Joel, so when you taking Nisha on a date? And then he like stopped in his tracks. Like, they was joking and everything, and it was like a real light mood, and then it gets so quiet, and he like stopped in his tracks, and then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back in the room and finish the bed. And he ran out of that kitchen so fast. Like, you talking about secondhand embarrassment. That was so embarrassing. I felt so bad for Nisha. And then Nisha was just sitting there like, and that just made it worse. Like, Nisha. And then she was like, you know what? Where them apps at? Where them data profiles at? Like I'm moving on. Like, that was so embarrassing. It was so hard to watch. Like, I was ready to turn the TV off. I was ready to end the show. So, turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV on. Turn the TV on. Anyways. But 1 hour later, Joel finally finished putting the bed together. And Nana, she loved her bed. So, most importantly, she loved her bed. The next scene, Nisha sets up a girlfriend's dinner, and it's all of her friends and Jazz's friends. And it's pretty much to lift Jazz's spirits. Nisha feels like Jazz has been really down lately. Okay, Jazz is like the last one to get to the restaurant, and she sits down. So the first thing that she says is, y'all do me a favor and don't get fat. It was like such an awkward, like you could hear the crickets. It was an awkward silence. And Nisha, she broke the silence, and she was like, it's too late for that. And then like everybody started busting up laughing when Nisha said that. And then she even gave Bree the enabler, and she gave Bree a high five. She high fiving around the table. But Jazz was being serious, you know, to take yourself, not yourself. She was being serious and taking your health serious, but, you know, Nisha lightened the mood. And so it's time to place orders, and Nisha says out loud in front of the whole table, let's see how much food she wastes today, talking about Jazz. And you could tell that Jazz was offended by this comment, and she said, I could take a few bites of like an enchilada or whatever. Nisha says, I don't want you to take a few bites. I want you to finish your food. You're not a child. And she says this in front of the whole table. And then Jazz said, anywho, now at this point, Nisha is on strike 2 with me. This episode alone, she on strike 2. So Nisha, I can't stand when people do stuff to like purposefully embarrass somebody. Like what she did, she was trying to embarrass her at the table with their friends, and I just didn't like that at all. I can't stand when people do that. It gives mean girl. And if you saw my friendship breakup story, I'll link it below or attach it below. If you haven't seen it, I experienced something similar to that. Like we were having Friendsgiving at my friend's house, and then my ex-best friend, she asked at a table full of people, what does my husband do for a living? And this isn't the first time she asked me this. She asked me this in private, but at this point in time on Friendsgiving, she decided to ask at a table full of people, and he told her that he's just doing his best. And so I felt like this gave like that same type of energy. Like I don't like people who do stuff like that. It gives messy, it gives mean girl. And so yeah, I'm definitely side-eyeing Nisha. I didn't appreciate that she did that. That was not nice at all. It was very nasty. But after Jazz said anywho, it was another awkward silence. And then the friends changed the subject. They asked about dating life. And of course, Joel came up again for Nisha. And the consensus with all of the friends pretty much is that Joel is just in the way. He's wasting Nisha's time, and that she needs to move on and find somebody else. Like he's probably blocking her from the love of her life because she's just keeping him around. And so they actually started setting up a dating profile for Nisha, like at the dinner. And so that was funny. So next scene, Jazz and Nisha are back at home. And we see Nisha putting on a pink wig. It looked like one of them like Party City wigs. It wasn't like, nice quality, realistic looking wig. It was like neon pink. It was really bright, or maybe pastel pink. Either way, it was like really bright. And it wasn't cute. And so Jazz is such a good friend. She was like, that wig is not giving. And she was putting this wig on to take like profile pictures for her dating profile. And so yeah, Jazz did right and told her that wig was not it, because it was not it. Okay, and then we see their confessional, and Nisha was just talking about getting her dating profile set up or whatever. And then we see Jazz, and she's like just staring off into the distance.
She's losing the weight, but at what cost?
Jazz, can you hear me? What's your name? All new.
And then it was so weird, because like she was responsive but unresponsive at the same time. And so she was having a medical emergency, come to find out. And so that really scared Nisha. And so Nisha got up. She couldn't even handle the moment. I think she said that she was like triggered or something. But she got up, and then it was actually the production team, somebody from the production team. They came to check on Jazz. They touched her on the shoulder, and they was like calling her name, but she like could barely respond. She was like so out of it. And then they did end up getting her a protein shake, and then she like came back to after the protein shake. And so they did have an on-site medic who was able to check her out, and they pretty much recommended that she go see a medical professional like as soon as possible. After Jazz was okay enough to go to the doctor, Nisha took her to the doctor. Jazz is very irritable because she's in pain, and they're like in traffic, like pretty much rushing, trying to get to the hospital to see what's going on with Jazz. And so that's where the episode ends. It ends with them in traffic. And I wish they would have kept it going so we could at least see what was going on with Jazz. I hope she's okay. I'm thinking maybe it was like a low blood sugar thing or something. I don't know. Hopefully it wasn't anything serious. But if it is the shots, hopefully this is like the wake-up call for her, which it seems like it is the shots. She needs to pretty much take a break from those shots if that's what's doing this to her. But that's how the episode ended. Okay, I just have a quick point to make before I close out this review. It's like related but unrelated. I feel like after watching this episode that Nisha probably won't be losing weight on this weight loss journey. I feel like she's waiting for some validation. I've realized that she treats her weight like a tactic for control. Like it's a mechanism for control for her. I feel like she uses it the same way that she uses her hurt and her trauma caused by her mom as like leverage over her head, or like something to hold over her mom's head. I feel like she treats her weight the same way. And so inevitably, I don't see her letting go of any of the hurt or the trauma or the weight until she is validated by her mom, until she gets like an apology or something from her mom, or if by chance she just happens to work it out with a therapist or therapy and God, you know. Until then, I don't think that she will be ready to move on with her life, unfortunately. But that was just like, you know, kind of like something that I concluded, or like almost like a prediction. I don't know. We'll see as the episodes go on. Hopefully I am wrong about her and the situation, but I have a feeling that I'm right. Let me know what you think about Nisha and how she uses her weight and her hurt and trauma as like a control tactic. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong. But that is all I have for this review. Thank you if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.